You lie in bed staring at the ceiling. Your body is exhausted, but your mind won't let go. It replays that one conversation again. You think of what you should have said, what you should have done. Then your thoughts drift to tomorrow, and suddenly, it's no longer tomorrow, but every possible version of it. Every decision feels like a fork in the road that could destroy everything if you pick the wrong path. And deep down, you know this. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're simply stuck, trapped in the noise of your own mind. That's overthinking, and it's one of the most deceptive enemies you will ever face. Does it sound familiar? Wait until point 6, because that's where the real twist comes in. When you'll see that overthinking isn't just wasting your time, it's quietly rewiring your identity. 1. The illusion of control. Overthinking often starts as something that feels noble. You tell yourself you're just being careful. You want to make the right choice, to avoid mistakes. You want to protect your future. It's an illusion of control, because your mind tricks you into believing that if you think long enough, hard enough, you'll eliminate uncertainty. But the brutal truth is that uncertainty never disappears. No amount of mental analysis can fully predict the outcome of life. So what happens instead? You create a loop, a false sense of movement. You feel busy, but nothing changes. You start calling it research. You call it planning. But underneath, it's fear wearing a sophisticated mask. 2. The fear beneath the thoughts. Every overthinker is trying to protect something. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the fear of judgment, of looking foolish. Or maybe it's something deeper, the fear of realizing that even if you do everything right, things can still go wrong. That's the heart of it, the mind's refusal to accept imperfection. It wants guarantees, it wants control. But in chasing control, you lose the only thing you ever truly had, action, because thought without movement slowly becomes self-sabotage. And the cruel part? It often disguises itself as intelligence. 3. The overthinker's prison. Imagine a man sitting in front of his desk. He has a project to start, something that could change his career. He has the tools, the knowledge, and the time. But before he writes the first line, he starts to question. What if this isn't the best idea? What if people don't like it? What if people smarter than me already failed? What if I fail publicly? Hours pass, then days. The project remains untouched, perfectly planned in his head and completely non-existent in reality. Every time he feels a spark of energy to start, a voice whispers, "Wait, think it through one more time." That voice is persuasive. It sounds rational, but it's not reason. It's resistance. And the longer he listens, the smaller his world becomes. If this resonates with you and you want more content like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more. 4. The cost you don't see. Overthinking feels safe, but it's quietly draining something you can't replace. Momentum. Momentum is the invisible force behind progress. Once you start, action feeds on itself. You make a move, it creates feedback, and that feedback guides your next step. But overthinking cuts that feedback loop. It replaces real-world lessons with mental simulations, endless ones. The result? You don't just lose time, you lose confidence. You lose the part of yourself that believes you can take action. Because every day you hesitate, you train your brain that thinking equals safety and doing equals danger. Over time, hesitation becomes identity. You start saying, "I'm just cautious," when really, you've forgotten how to move. 5. The paradox of the smart mind. Here's the irony. The smarter you are, the worse this can get. Intelligent people are great at seeing possibilities, but they're also great at seeing problems. Therefore, they are naturally prone to overthink. Every potential decision comes with a list of what could go wrong. And that analytical skill, while valuable, becomes a curse when it's not balanced with courage. Because thinking is meant to serve action, not replace it. That's where most people get stuck. They confuse understanding life with living it. 6. The twist. Overthinking rewrites who you are. Here's the part I told you to wait for. The real damage of overthinking isn't just lost time, it's identity erosion. The longer you stay in your head, the more you start to believe that's who you are, a thinker, an analyzer, someone who plans, not acts. And your brain starts building evidence for that belief. You remember the times you hesitated, not the times you were brave. You reinforce the idea that I'm someone who needs to be sure first. But life doesn't reward certainty, it rewards adaptation. And this is where most people miss it. You don't build confidence by thinking you can do something. You build it by doing it and realizing you survived. That's how identity changes, not through mental preparation, but through lived experience. 7. The shift. Action as a form of clarity. So what's the way out? It's not to stop thinking. It's to rebalance thinking and doing. Thought should guide you, not keep you captive. And here's the mindset shift. You don't need to see the whole path. You only need to see the next step and be ready for what comes along the journey. Because clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from action. When you start moving, reality gives you feedback. You learn what works and what doesn't. You adjust, you evolve, and slowly, your mind realizes something profound. You don't need to predict the future. You just need to participate in it. 8. The law of momentum. Done beats perfect. Because done means you've entered the real world. You've created something that can grow, be improved, be learned from. Perfect means you're still trapped in the simulation, safe, untouched, unreal. Perfection doesn't evolve because it never begins. But when you finish something, even imperfectly, you create momentum. You gain data. You gain courage. And that movement is infinitely more valuable than flawless ideas that never escape your head. So next time your mind tells you, wait until it's perfect, remind yourself, perfection is the enemy of progress, and progress is the only path to mastery. 9. The quiet freedom of letting go. When you start living this way, when you start doing instead of doubting, something strange happens. Your thoughts quiet down, not because they disappear, but because they finally have a direction. The mind was never meant to be your jailer. It was meant to be your compass. When you give it a destination through action, it stops spinning. It aligns. And what used to be noise becomes clarity. Not perfect clarity, but enough to move forward. 10. The reflection. So ask yourself this. What has overthinking already cost you? A project? A relationship? A version of yourself you could have become if you just started sooner? You'll never think your way into peace. You'll act your way into it. Because peace doesn't come from certainty. It comes from motion, from knowing you're doing something meaningful. It enables you to change what you can. So start small. Send the message. Write the first page. Make the imperfect move. You'll find that once you begin, your fear loses its power and starts shrinking. And your mind, once your greatest enemy, slowly becomes your ally again. Overthinking is not intelligence. It's fear dressed as logic. And the cure isn't more thought. It's trust. Trust that you'll learn. Trust that you'll adapt. Trust that you'll survive mistakes. Because you will. And when you do, you'll finally understand. Done is better than perfect. Because done can evolve. Perfect can't even begin. If this message resonated with you, let it breathe for a moment. Don't think too much about it and start acting. Share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Because the truth is, we're all overthinkers at some point. But awareness is the first step towards freedom. Until next time, stay close.